So was this the first and best 51st pick in NHL history at the draft? This guy changed the fortunes of the LA Kings, made him a better squad. When he was traded to the Islanders, he helped the squad to four straight Stanley Cups. Should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and maybe one day we can say the native of St. Boniface, Manitoba, with the most interesting helmet. I think he repainted it hundreds of, maybe thousands of times. Is probably one of the most important money players in NHL history. We've got to be talking about the pride of Dauphin, Manitoba, through St. Boniface, Butch Goring. Now, the 5'9", 160-pounder, a left-handed shot, he wasn't there for his size, but his tenacity. First came to major prominence by scoring 150 goals in 40 minor hockey games as a 12-year-old with the Glenwood Bears. He started the 65-66 season with the West Kildonan of the MJHL in Manitoba before joining the Winnipeg Rangers. Played on the Canadian National B team in 68 and competed in Russia's Investia tournament as part of his season with the Hull Nationals of the Quebec Senior League. Now he played 12 games for the St. Boniface Mohawks of the Manitoba Senior League in the 68 Allen Cup tournament. He left the Winnipeg Jets team after 39 games of the 69 season when he was leading the WCHL in scoring. He made the move so he could play with the national squad for the balance of his last season up until technically 72 in 69. He joined Dauphin for the tail end of the 68-69 MJHL regular season and playoffs, winning the Turnbull Cup with the team. He then played for Dauphin in the 69 Memorial Cup tournament and later joined Regina of the SGHL for two more contests after Dauphin was eliminated, finishing with 21 points in total 41 games. Now, pre-draft stats, quite interesting here. With Winnipeg of the MJHL, he had 35 goals and 66 points in 51 games in 67. With Hull of the Quebec Senior Hockey League, he had 57 points in 39 games in 68. Now, in his draft year, he had 75 points in 39 contests with Winnipeg of WCHL. Now, the center was also the Turnbull Trophy winner with Dauphin, again in 68-69. Now, his first contract in the NHL was 1969, debuted with LA in November 69 against Chicago, and went all the way through to the 85 playoffs for Boston against Montreal. He retired in May 85. Four-time Stanley Cup winner, 80, 81, 82, 83, with the Islanders, of course, and of course silver, well, not silver, but they lost in the finals in 84. His iconic number 91, the shift of his number 19 in LA, made him a household name. Now, in 78, he won the Lady Byng Trophy, the Bill Masterson Trophy, made the All-Star game in 1980, again with the Kings, and won the Connie Smythe in 81 as the MVP of the playoffs. Now, multiple team records with LA. Rookie of the year in 1970, assist leader in 72, most popular player in 73, points leader, goals leader, and assist leader in 74, most popular player 75 and 76, most inspirational player in 77, playoff goals leader with 7, in 78, the most valuable player, most inspirational player, most popular player, most four-star selections goals leader, career high 37. Now, with LA, he had most goals in one game, LA record, 4 versus Minnesota on March 1st, 75. Of course, he shares that record. And most goals in one period versus Washington on February 1st, 78. He shares the record. Now, known as Robert Thomas Goring, he not only known as Butch, but Butchie. Other draft teams, including Springfield of the AHL, he played with Nova Scotia of the AHL as well. He's a son of the former LA Kings amateur scout Robert Goring and the older brother of former major junior player Dave Goring. Now, the big deal, of course, when he was traded by LA to New York Islanders in exchange for Billy Harris and Dave Lewis, which turned the fortunes around from the Islanders to never were, but here we go, no one can beat us. He was claimed also by Boston off waivers from the Islanders on January 8, 85. Now, when it comes to trade deadline deals, this is the ultimate one to change the fate of a team, and few trades compared to this one. Brought Goring to the Islanders in March 1980. Although the Islanders have been verge of a championship for at least 4 years, the addition of Goring put them over the top. Lost twice to Montreal, then to the Leafs, and then to the Rangers. The price for Goring was high indeed. They gave up their former first ever draft choice, Billy Harris, who had been with the team since day one. He also gave up to sturdy Dave Lewis, who had joined the team in his second NHL season. An outstanding player and one of the league's hardest workers, Goring had been playing in the shadow of Hall of Famer Marcel Dio in LA. But when he came east, he suddenly had a chance to showcase his own impact on an even more talented team that needed a spark and work ethic to reach the next level. He scored 6 counters, 11 points in 12 games after joining the Islanders, helping the team to an 8-0-4 finish. They then had a huge impact in the team's first Stanley Cup run with 7 goals and 12 assists in 21 games. So technically, ladies and gentlemen, 22 wins with Goring in less than 2 months, or 2.5 months. Now, having Goring started his own right as a number 2 center in the team behind Brian Trottier opened up the Islanders' offense and gave them strength at a crucial position, as Goring was able to use his speed to make winners that much more dangerous in the run to the 80 Stanley Cup and what proved to be first of 4 straight titles. Goring was part of the core of the 4, one of 13 Islanders who played on the team for all 4 years. At a ceremony for the core of the 4, Hall of Famer Mike Bossy gave Goring the highest compliment. He's the last piece of the puzzle who made us who we are. Now, ironically, ladies and gentlemen, he didn't win a Canada Cup. He was part of the second place team in 81, so even he couldn't stop Louis from giving up shitty goals. Now, injuries really hampered him. Mononucleosis, right knee problem, separated shoulder, dislocated left shoulder. When Gary Sargent, of all people, fell on him during the 74 training camp scrimmage. Eye injury, and he was hurt by a pot vent accidentally, and a separated left shoulder. Shoulder injuries were a big problem in his career, once on his right and 2 on his left. Now, he did not miss a game of the 81 Stanley Cup Finals, despite having a 40-stitch cut in his chin and tongue, suffered in Game 1 of the Finals versus Minnesota May 12th, sort of the Wayne Cashman incident. Now, he's also known for a very unique helmet. Butch Goring had a trademark. It was undoubtedly his unique helmet. He began wearing the Snaps helmet as a 12-year-old in Manitoba after his father bought it for him when it was a hot item. At some point, he decided he would continue to use it for his whole career. As the years went by, not only did Goring's helmet appear wildly outdated, it also appeared tight in his head, as if he had outgrown it and offered little protection, although that didn't seem to matter in an era when most players didn't wear helmets. He said he wore the helmet for comfort and because he got used to having it on his head in minor hockey, rather than protection. He was intensely loyal to his Snaps helmet. Now, I did notice, I thought he was painting, there was rumors he was painting at the first, but he had 2 of the helmets, one for home games and one for the road. Each time he changed teams, he had the equipment managers repaint his prize helmets in the appropriate colors rather than switch to the new helmet. Now, very big again in the coaching ranks. He was a player assistant coach in the Islanders from 81 to the time he left. He was also Boston head coach and remained there until November 8, 86. He was a head coach of Spokane WHL. He was also the Capital District AHL head coach for a couple of seasons. He was named Las Vegas IHL head coach in 93, Denver IHL head coach in 94, Islanders head coach in 99 for a couple of years. He was the Anchorage of WCHL head coach for most of 2001. He was also named Frankfurt, Germany's interim head coach January 24, 2002. He was named Cranfield, Germany head coach for 2002-2003. Was an AC back with the Islanders and, of course, in the German league for a couple of years. Was GM of Denver in the IHL and moved the team to Salt Lake City. Now, he was also named to the Hockey Night Live panel by MSG Networks in 2007 and remained that position for a number of years. He was named New York Islanders TV color commentary prior to the 2011 season. Now, it's kind of weird, ladies and gentlemen, because not to say he was an unknown factor, it's hard to say any NHL player is unknown, but because he was playing in LA, unless Vancouver was playing LA or Montreal or whatever, he was very rarely on Hockey Night in Canada. And ironically, ladies and gentlemen, of his coaching record, he's a negative record. He had some tough seasons with the Islanders. He only won 41 games over 2 seasons, and he was fired in 2001. Now, he's also the last active player in the NHL that had played during the 1960s. Now, other awards, of course, the Calder Cup with the Springfield Kings in 71, the Manitoba's Athlete of the Year in 81, IHL Coach of the Year in 95-96, Turner Cup title 95-96, as Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame and Museum in 92, Manitoba Hockey Hall of Fame, and he's number 91 was retired by the Islanders in 2020, and of course he played more than 1,000 games in his career. So for a guy, ladies and gentlemen, that never scored more than 37 goals in a season, very, very impressive. From 1972, ladies and gentlemen, to 1984, let's just look at rough numbers here. 21, 28, 28, 27, 33, 30, 37, 36, 20, 29, 15, 19, 22, and wrapped up his career in the AHL with, of all people, the Nova Scotia Oilers in 1987, and had 5 points in the Canada Cup. Now, just for a fact's sake, because there's a lot to go through, he was also selected by the LA Sharks in the 72 WHA draft, which was the first ever in February 72. The big penalty kill team, of course, with Bob Nevin, which were the number one unit for them in the 70s. He became the first LA player in team history to take part in 8 training camps in 76. Of course, played on the KGB line with Bobby Bourne and Anders Galore for the Islanders in the 80s. And he played on the Light Brigade line with Mike Corrigan and Bob Barry in 72. He was named Citizen Saving Helms Hall of Fame Southern California Athlete of the Month for March 74. He also scored the first postseason hat trick in LA's playoff history, April 9, 77 versus Atlanta. He also worked at hockey schools during off seasons of his early professional playing days. He also scored the first NHL hat trick in the Kings' final game of the 72 season on April 1st versus California. Finished third in the voting for the 74 Lady Byng behind Johnny Busick and Lowell McDonald, and of course played with a line with Gillies and Dwayne Sutter for the Islanders in the 80 season and playoffs. At one point in his playing career, he owned as many as 3 race horses. He loved the animals. He was only the NHL player other than Bobby Orr to record a 6-point game during the 72 season. Now, he finished third in voting for the 75 Lady Byng behind Dion and John Busick. Now, he was also with Anders Galore on the Islanders' top penalty killing unit during the run of the AT Stanley Cup and drove the opponents nuts. Now, he was also the first coach in hockey history to begin at NHL level and later go to Major Junior. So he's always making inroads. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think of this stat. In his career, 2-decade career, 102 minutes in penalties in 1,107 games. Now, you're saying to yourself, why isn't Butch Goring in the Hockey Hall of Fame? You can put him in as a builder, as an LA King icon. If there's somebody out there in Gary Bettman's office listening to the podcast, come here, I want to talk to you. Okay? You put the Russians in, you put the Europeans in. How is Butch Goring not in the Hockey Hall of Fame? 4 Stanley Cups, considered one of the greatest athletes ever from Manitoba in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Basically, an iconic player. The girls liked him, the kids liked him. Non-Islander fans love it. I love Butch Goring. I wish the Montreal Canadiens had 2 of him because we won all the cups that the Islanders would have won. He is a winner. He's a tremendous athlete. And he's only 74, and a lot of people say he's in really, really good shape. He can still play. And his color commentator is tremendous. The games he did on TNT in 2023 are those of legend. Now, ladies and gentlemen, maybe the Hockey Hall of Fame will smarten up one of these days and get with it. Put in Peter Mahovlich, put in certain Montreal Canadiens and Toronto Maple Leaf players. Paulie Henderson, maybe Ron Ellis deserves to be there as a defensive forward. I really think that any Hockey Hall of Fame or Hall of Fame that doesn't have Butch Goring. He got into Manitoba Halls of Fame. Well, you don't. Listen. Who is the most important hockey player that wasn't a superstar in the early 1980s? He wasn't a superstar. He didn't have to be. He was Butch Goring. So, I saw him play, ladies and gentlemen, and like I said, the Pissmeyer of the ice, my dad called him. And those 4 cups, I'm looking at you, Butch, as soon as you arrived. Like my dad said, why would anybody trade Butch Goring? Like, I don't know if it was contract or whatever. So that's a legacy of, I'm hoping, future Hockey Hall of Famer Butch Goring. Goes out to our good good supporter of the Brunswick Independent Author Association, Joe Powers, who basically, if you ask him what the greatest dynasty in hockey was all time, he mentions these Islanders. I don't agree, but like I said, he's got a good argument. It's a close number two or 2.5 to behind Montreal Canadiens, then the Oilers, and then the Islanders. I would put him over the top, but like I said, 4 straight years of losing for Goring get his. Like I said, the New York Islanders with Goring were a dynasty. Without him, they were just top 3 because he couldn't finish it off. If you're going to be a murderer, go for the neck. Don't go for a leg wound. Put Montreal Canadiens, Philadelphia Flyers, the Lemieux Penguins, the Crosby Penguins, everybody else. You got to go for the juggler if you're going to win. And Butch Goring gave that. A passive, easygoing player who he couldn't stop. And anybody who's going to goon up Butch Goring, fuck, Gillies would have killed him. I mean, the rest of the players would have killed him. Ken Morrow and Lorimer or whatever. So, there was no doubt. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of the great Butch Goring. If you like what we're doing here with our New York Islanders Vintage Podcast, let me know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.